quarters. My name is Richard. In this video, I'll be diving deep into the numbers, the trends, and the ever-changing dynamics that are shaping this very highly competitive, very highly contentious, and very, very close 2024 presidential election between the current Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, and the former 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. I'll be taking polling data, giving you expert insight as we break down this complex world of these polls. But at the end, you're going to have a clear picture of what's really happening and what's really going to happen on the evening of November 5th, 2024. If you enjoy this video, please hit that like button. Also hit that subscribe button. We're going to be posting videos daily. Some of these will be probability videos, which you're going to enjoy. We're going to do a swing state video. And in some videos, we'll have a state by state, an individual state video breaking down the science and the polling data in that state, in those swing states. But for right now, I'm taking you right to November 5th, 2024. It's 7 p.m. There are 60 electoral college votes that are up for grabs. You have the state of Florida closing at 7 o'clock, Indiana, Kentucky, South Carolina, Virginia, and Vermont. Let's go to the one that's going to be easy to call, Indiana. Very, very red, safe call for Trump. 11 electoral college votes. Trump will catch another 8 in Kentucky very easily, and he'll also secure South Carolina. Those three states are going to be called very quickly after 7 o'clock. Trump jumps out to a 28-0 lead over the Vice President, Kamala Harris. Let's go up here to Vermont, the most liberal state in the union, the most liberal state in the country. Vermont, home of Bernie Sanders. That will go blue. Kamala Harris gets her first 3 electoral college votes. Let's go to Virginia. Virginia is very interesting. If you go back to the polls right before President Joe Biden pulled out, look at these polls here in July. Almost every single one of them. Trump has a lead. It's just crazy to see how that played out. As soon as Biden pulled out of the race, Kamala became the known candidate. She was going to be the candidate for the Democratic Party. She immediately went to the top of the list. And so we're going to, even though that was a very interesting situation prior to Biden pulling out, Virginia will go blue. I don't think it's going to go 10% or 12%. I think Trump will do a lot better in Virginia. But because Virginia has hundreds of thousands of federal government workers, it's just hard with those dynamics in play for a Republican presidential candidate to get those electoral college votes. So Vice President Kamala Harris has 13 more in her corner. It is now 28-16. We're going to go down to Georgia. Georgia will be too close to call at this time, so we're going to set Georgia aside for a little bit. Stick with me in the video. We're going to go to Georgia and break that down a little bit more scientifically through as the video progresses. Let's go to the 7:30 closings. 37 states. Yes, 37, electoral college votes up for grabs. You have North Carolina, Ohio, West Virginia. Let's make the easy calls first. West Virginia is very red. That'll go 60-40, 65-35 for the former President Donald Trump. But more importantly, in West Virginia, there is a huge Senate battle there. This state is going to have a lot to say in the control of the Senate in this election period. You had Joe Manchin, who is a Democrat in a very Republican state, but very respected. A very, very respected Democrat senator. Has been there for years and years and years. The last 2 to 3 years, Senator Manchin has begun to drift away from the Democrat Party. It's not the Democrat Party that he knew 8 years ago, 20 years ago for that matter. But he began to drift away. Well, he is retiring from that Senate seat. And former Governor Justice, who was a very popular Republican governor, is the nominee. He is winning in most polls by 40, 50 points. That Senate seat in West Virginia is going to flip. It's going to go from a Democrat seat to a Republican seat. And as we progress in this video, I'm going to show you a couple other highly contested states that could flip the balance of power in the United States Senate. But West Virginia goes to Donald Trump. Those 4 electoral votes go to Donald Trump. Ohio is going to be red. The Democrats, thought that they had this thing locked down in 2016. Trump snatched that away from Hillary Clinton. He won it by a larger margin in 2020. Even though he lost the election, he won Ohio by a larger margin. Now, even the most liberal polling organizations in Ohio have Trump up by over 10 points. He's going to smash this state. Those 17 electoral college votes go to the former president, Donald J. Trump. He's up 49-16. Let's go to North Carolina. North Carolina at 7:30 will be too close to call. We'll come back and visit North Carolina later on in the video. Stick with me. Stay with me on this one. Let's go to 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock is a load of electoral college votes. It's a bank load. It's 171 electoral college votes up for grabs at the 8 p.m. closing. What we're going to do right now is I'm going to call those races that really are no-brainers. We're going to start up here in the East Coast. Vice President Harris has a huge presence up here. She is going to take Massachusetts very easily. She's going to take Rhode Island. She's going to take Connecticut. She is going to take New Hampshire, but it's going to be a lot closer than people thought. Prior to President Biden pulling out, some pollsters had this state very close as a tie. Biden had a 1-3% lead, but it was a lot closer. And remember, in 2016, former President Trump only lost this state by less than 2,000 votes. Now, he lost it by a larger margin in 2020. But again, we have got some very unique dynamics in this 2024 election. We'll see how that plays out. It's going to go blue, I'm almost positive, but not by a large margin. Let's go to Maine. Maine and Nebraska. Very unique structure here. 48 states have a winner-take-all. So let's just say, California, you win the popular vote, you win all electoral college votes. Iowa, you win the popular vote, you win all the electoral college votes. But Maine and Nebraska split theirs up. But let's focus on Maine right now. So the popular vote will go to the vice president. She will win the popular vote in Maine. District number 1, she'll win that one. Now, district number 2 is very interesting. District number 2 has been carved out in Maine. It's typically a very conservative district. The Republicans have won that electoral vote. They've done well in the past, but in the most current polls that we have today, the vice president has a 5-point lead. This could change, but because it's not 1 point or a half a point or a toss-up, it's a 5-point lead for her. We're going to go ahead and give her that 1 electoral college vote. She will secure Maine, and she will also secure the District of Columbia by a very, very, very large margin. New Jersey. Prior to President Biden pulling out, that state was polling very close. Former President Trump was actually doing very well. It's a solid blue, but Trump was making some inroads there. Harris has a 7 to 10 point lead. She's going to win New Jersey, but she's not going to win this by double digits. That would typically be the norm. She won't win that by double digits. It will be under 7%. Michigan. Michigan is going to be too close to call. We're going to come back and revisit Michigan later on in the video. Pennsylvania closes at 8 o'clock. Pennsylvania will be too close to call. We will take a closer look at Pennsylvania later on in the video. So right now it's close. Kamala Harris has about a 63 to 49 electoral college vote lead. We've gone from the East Coast. Let's get into the South and the Midwest. Alabama is dark red. Trump will win that hands down very, very easily. He will take Mississippi by 30, 35 percentage points. He will take Missouri. That's going to be a Trump win right there. Oklahoma, big for Trump, 60 to 40, 65-35. Tennessee, very dark red. The Senator, Marshall Blackburn, won that in the 60% range in 2020. Trump will probably be very similar along those lines, 55 to 60%, but that's going to be a Trump catch and a Trump cash right there. Kansas, red country. It's going to be red, the whole Midwest. Let's go to North Dakota. That will go red. South Dakota, that will go red. And that's going to kind of play out the 8 o'clock hour. Apologize. Let's go to Texas. How did I forget Texas? Texas with 40 electoral college votes. Texas gained electoral college vote along with Florida due to the population increase in that state over the last election cycle. Pennsylvania, which had 20 electoral college votes, lost one because of the outflow of the population there. New York lost electoral college vote, and California lost one as well. So Texas gaining 40, Florida getting an extra one as well. Florida's still too close to call. Texas, the Democrats, early in the spring, now they felt this way in 2016, they felt this way in 2020. Texas, they thought was on the radar. There's some of the Democrat in-house polling had them 3 or 4 points. That's not going to happen. Texas is still very conservative. You have the larger cities, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin. They tend to vote with the Democrat candidate, and more so now than ever before. But you get up into the rural areas up here. Texas has 254 counties, okay? You get up into this rural area here and into central Texas. It is very conservative. It is very red. You may see at the 9 o'clock hour, 9:30, you may actually see Vice President Harris up 150, 200,000 votes. As soon as these outlying counties come in, it takes them a little while to count the votes. As soon as those votes start coming in from the Panhandle all the way down into Central Texas, it's going to happen quickly. That Harris lead of a couple 100,000 votes is going to evaporate, and you're going to see Trump win this state by several hundred thousands of votes. He may actually win it by over 1 million. Texas is not going blue this time. Texas is going red. President Trump, former President Trump, up about 144 to 63 at this time. Let's go to the 8:30 poll closing. There's only one state, 6 electoral votes up, Arkansas. That will be called within 3 or 4 minutes of that state's poll closing. Trump will be enjoying about 150 to 63 electoral vote lead at this time. The next poll closing is 9 p.m. Here is another big cache of votes. There's 163 electoral votes that are up for grabs in the 9 o'clock hour. We're going to go over here to New York. Vice President Kamala Harris. That is an easy win for her. She should win that state by about 24 to 27%. That's going to be an easy haul for her. We still have Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Florida, Georgia, North Carolina. Those states are too close to call. And in this 9 o'clock hour, Wisconsin is also going to be too close to call. We will get out to those too close to call states here in just a few minutes. Moving out to the west, Midwest, Colorado. Colorado's going to go blue. It's really moving far to the left. Trump was, 5, 7 points, 1 point. Some of these polls now are between 10 and 15 points. New Mexico, another interesting state. Now, the political landscape in New Mexico is changing. It's really evolving. The Hispanic voting electorate in New Mexico is starting to move to the center and even to the right of center. You can see that in some House races that are taking place. But the Hispanic, the Latino vote in New Mexico, listen, this border issue is huge. It's huge for a lot of these states. But contrary to what you would think, the Latino vote is really taking this border issue very seriously. More, you're seeing it more than you would in Arizona. And so right now, this state will stay blue, but probably not for long. Trump may be able to keep this thing around 5 to 6 points. If he does that, that's going to be very interesting. That's going to be very, very interesting because there was some thought that he would lose the state by 7 to 10 votes, 7 to 10 percentage votes, but that's not going to happen. I think he closes it within about 5. And so the 9 o'clock polling with 163 electoral college votes, it's going to be very, very, very close, but that will go blue. We go to Louisiana. Louisiana is very easy red, very conservative state. That should be an easy catch for the former president, Donald J. Trump. Minnesota closes as well at 9 o'clock. Again, prior to Joe Biden pulling out, Trump was actually narrowing the gap here. Some polls had this very close. Some had it even, some had it 1 to 3 points. It's now moved a little further out since Vice President Harris has jumped into the race. It got as high as 10%. We've seen over the last week it tightened up just a little bit, down to about 7%. It's just going to be too much of a hurdle for Donald Trump to overcome. Those 10 electoral college votes go to the vice president, and Donald Trump is now up about 158 to 116 midway into the 9 p.m. hour. Iowa used to be a very close state, but over the last 2 elections, this state is gone very red, and those 6 electoral college votes will go to the former president of the United States. I missed one state. I apologize. Back at the 8 o'clock hour, Illinois. But I want to come back to this for this reason. Illinois is going to go blue, but not by 15 or 20 points. This is a state, it closes at 8 o'clock. You really want to watch this. If Illinois does not go to the vice president by 15, 16, 17 points, she's got a reason to worry. This is going to be a concern for her in all of these states that are going to be too close to call. The Florida, the Georgia, the North Carolina, Pennsylvania. This is going to be tough on her. She has to win this by 15 to 20%. Illinois is blue. But what you're seeing is among black males, you're seeing this coalescing around former President Trump's message. And if you get into the city, Chicago and some of these other cities in Illinois, and she cannot secure the black male vote at the records that Democrats have enjoyed for decades, this is going to be a sign of things to come in Georgia and in North Carolina, okay, and in Florida, and in Pittsburgh, especially in Philadelphia. It's just going to be tough for her. You get into the inner cities of Detroit. Illinois is going to tell us a lot more than what people think. It's going blue, no doubt about it. It's going to bring her to 135 electoral college votes. But if she does not win Illinois by 15 to 20 points, and Trump is somehow able to get this around 10, 11, it's going to be a very, very tough hill for the vice president to climb in the inner cities of Pennsylvania, inner cities of, look at Charlotte and Raleigh-Durham. It's going to be hard for her. She will win those communities, but if she doesn't win them in massive amounts and she does not secure that high percentage that the Democrats have enjoyed among that part of the electorate, she's going to be in trouble. So now we have got to go. We're going to Wyoming. Wyoming is going to go red very, very easily. We touched on Louisiana. Iowa's there. Nebraska. Let's get on Nebraska with that split electoral college. The popular vote will definitely go to the former President Donald J. Trump. He will also secure this district here. But the second district, that will probably go blue. And then you've got the last district in Nebraska. So Trump right now enjoying 171 to 136 electoral college vote lead. We're in the 10 o'clock hour now. We've got Idaho, Montana, Nevada, Oregon, and Utah. Let's just call it safely here. Idaho is going to go red. That's not even be close. We're going to go Utah. That's going to go red. Montana, interesting. Montana is going to be red, but there's a couple stories playing out there. Montana, Montana, excuse me, it's moved a little bit closer to center over the last few years. It's not a 20 or 30% win for the Republicans Party anymore. The state's probably going to only be about 15, 16% win for Trump. That's enough, obviously, to push him over and get him the full electoral college votes. But Montana is changing. There's a big influx coming in. People moving into Montana. It's a beautiful state. And their dynamics are changing as well. But more important, there's a Senate race taking place out there. You have got John Tester, Democrat, been in that Senate seat for several years. Tim Sheehy is actually beating him in the polls. 8, 9, 10% lead. That is going to flip. And between Montana and West Virginia, it's more than likely the Republicans are going to flip that Senate seat. Let's go now to the 11 o'clock closing. You've got California that will be very blue. Washington will also be very blue. Oregon will be very blue. You now have the vice president up 210 to 185. And now we have these swing states that are coming into play. Let's move out west real quick. Alaska closes at midnight. Easy red state. Hawaii will stay blue. Now we're going to dive into the swing states. Let's go to Wisconsin. I'm going to show you some polling in Wisconsin. Trump has had a very difficult time here. He's never had a lead in Wisconsin during the Harris era. You can see here it's very close, about 1 percentage point. And then it sort of gapped a little bit, up to almost 2. At one point we see, going over 3.5%. Trump's been able to close this just a little bit, but Harris is just not relinquishing it. When you get into Wisconsin, Trump's message is received fairly well, but, his message is not received fairly well. His policies are, but his presentation, his tone, it just doesn't sit well with that type of electorate. It's going to, again, go down to very late election night. I just don't see him being able to secure this. I think it's going to go blue. There's a couple of factors, though, that will affect Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and we're going to get to Nevada in just a minute. You have the white 4-year non-degreed, the non-degreed 4-year voting population. 56% of that electorate in Wisconsin is white, non-4-year degreed. The pollsters they missed that in 16, they missed it in 20, and they're missing again here in 2024. That particular voting dynamics, that part of the electorate just does not get included. They keep missing them. I think she'll be able to overcome that in Wisconsin, but she is going to have some problems in Michigan. She's going to have some problems in Pennsylvania. Let's go to Michigan, by the way. Get it put to the Michigan poll. Early in the Trump-Harris era, Trump had a slight lead. He maintained that for a little while, and then he lost it. And the spread was anywhere from 2 to 3 points. You see right here, almost a 3-point lead. It's tightened up just a little bit, down to about 1.9%. I just think at the end of the day, it's going to be so close. But I see this going blue for Kamala Harris. She'll be at 239 to 188. It's just going to be a very interesting scenario. Now I want to go to Nevada. Nevada has been all over the place. Nevada, you see right here, initially Harris had the lead. We see a couple times Trump gets it back. It's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. At the end of the night, when this state gets called, Trump's policies do resonate very well in Nevada. I think he will be able to pull this state out. Again, there is a large white non-4-year degreed group of electorate. It's around 40%. Those get undercounted. And when you get up here to when you're talking about Wisconsin and Michigan, where you got these 2.5, 3 point spreads, I think it's going to be tough for Trump. Nevada will not be. That will go red. It's neck and neck. It's so close. Arizona, another swing state. It's just going to be very hard for the vice president to overcome the border issue there. Again, you have a lot of white non-degreed 4-year electorate voters there. I think Arizona's around 40%. Trump will pull Arizona out. Florida. For years, Florida was a bellwether state. It has decided so many elections. Trump took it in 2016, took it by a larger margin in 2020, and right now the Hispanic vote there, the Latino vote, is moving very far right of center. The Cuban population down there is very conservative. This is not going to be close. The Democrats, I know early in the cycle, thought they had a chance here. The vice president was there just a couple weeks ago, kind of touting her stance on the abortion issue. Not going to be enough. This state's going to go red by 5 to 7%. Trump will have a 235 to 239 lead going into the late hours the late hours of November 5th and the very early hours in the morning of November 6th. Let's go to North Carolina. North Carolina, very interesting. You look here. Let's go all the way back. Trump has had a small lead since Harris came on board. He's maintained that lead. And then we saw just a little blip on the radar. Harris gained some momentum. Now, she did not receive a bump after her convention. That was very unusual. She did not really get a bump. So everything that she has had has been post Joe Biden, the July 21st, stepping down of Biden and introducing Harris into the race. Trump maintained a slight lead, and then we see it bounces back a little again to Harris. And now this poll has it 0.2%. It's a virtual tie. Given that state's voting history, giving the Republican Party success at the presidential election level, I see that staying that way. North Carolina will be red. You have Trump 251, Harris 239. This is going to be really, really tight right here. Let's go to Georgia. Georgia has been up and down, back and forth. The polls have been so close. Trump up a point, down a point. But in the most current polls that we see with the former president of the United States, let me go to Georgia here real quick and find it. He's up 1.3%. Most of the polls have him in that lead. At the midnight hour, the former president is going to pull Georgia out. He'll be up 267 to 239. There's just no path for Kamala Harris. Trump will also win Pennsylvania. He'll win this thing 286 to 239. He'll be the 47th president of the United States of America. If you enjoyed this video, again, hit that like, subscribe. I look forward to hearing from you. If you would like to have a video done for you, if you'd like me to put a video together on a specific state, a specific dynamic, give me that comment. I'll answer every one of those comments that come through. Thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you again soon.